Okay, good morning. I just wanted to pop on for a minute and show y'all a few of my orchids and my other plants too, but I'm gonna try to focus on some orchids because so many people have trouble growing them. A window right here shines really nicely in the morning on these, and then I've got some indirect sun on this one. And then I'm gonna pop you into my green room, my sunroom real quick. And then I've got this awesome room. Not everybody is like, my dog sleeps in here. That's what the carpet's for. Let's see. So this is a big orchid. This is a chromatophyllum. And then along this wall, which is east facing window, I've got this oncidium. I have one in this pot. And then here's some dendrobiums that's not doing so great. I wanted to show you this one. This one's putting out a nice little flower spike. But this pot broke years ago, and I decided to leave it in a broken pot. And I have it sitting in another pot. You can see the roots and the little water. I just finished watering my orchids today, so that's why there's some water in the pot. Make sure I don't smash my roots, putting it back in there. What I had found when I just had this orchid in this broken pot, it was drying out way too quick. That's why I sat it in another pot. And then I have this dendrobium and then this gigantic one. I have some epidendrums. This one's just sitting in a vase. And this one, some cuttings I took off of another one, and you can see it's starting to put out a little flower spike right there. I have a huge one that's outside on my front porch. And I bring it in and outside because they really like to be outside. There's another one. There's another one in a broken pot. I don't worry about the broken pots a whole lot. It's putting out a nice little flower spike. They like air. Water, air, light. So that's why I don't worry about my broken pots a whole lot. This one does need to be repotted. I have a bunch that need to be repotted. Since I moved houses, I haven't really done a whole lot of babying of my orchids. They've been on their own. This one's putting out a nice flower spike. And then I have a ground orchid that I can't wait to be able to put back outside. Its little tips are drying. So I need to take care of that baby. And then I just did some watering. So I have this orchid that's in waterculture. This one I bought last year, not too happy about it. It was from a grower, and I had noticed it wasn't doing really well, so I took it out of its moss and plastic pot, and this is what I found. So I'm trying to rehabilitate it in some waterculture. See a little bit of water at the bottom of this vase. That's what I did with this one. I had bought this one at Rouse's in Lockport, and it was not doing very well, so I've rehabilitated. You can see it got some nice roots now and some waterculture. This is a jewel orchid that I put in a terrarium because it loves humidity. And then, let's see, I've got this nice one up here. It blooms amazingly, but it doesn't have any spikes right now. And then I've got two in this pot. I had bought this one a few years ago at Whole Foods, and you can see it's putting out some nice flower spikes. And then I've got this little mini. It's a mini Phalaenopsis, and it's putting out a little spike for me too. I had converted it over to waterculture because it had lost all its leaves. I've been having this one, I don't know, 7 years probably now. It had lost all its leaves. Look at this great little root. Happy roots, happy roots. Anyway, so I converted it to semi-waterculture, and it is doing fantastic. Let's see what I got in my tub. I have another ground orchid right here that a friend of mine bought me last year. It's putting out a nice little flower spike. And then a couple of more orchids down here. And then one in this pot that the squirrels tore up about 7 years ago. It was so much bigger and bloomed for me great, so now it's kind of slowly coming back from the squirrel attack. And I got a couple in baskets. You could see I experiment in different ways. It really does great in the basket, but I have to water it a lot. And it's got some nice buds. All the buds going towards the light. One of the things you need to remember when you have orchids, once they put out their spikes, you really shouldn't move them, or they'll get wonky directional flowers. Like, you see how this spike is kind of twisty? That's because it's going for the light source, which is a nice little bright window I have right here. And I think that is it. So I just wanted to give you a tour. I am lucky to have this room for all my orchids, because if I didn't, they would be outside in the greenhouse right now. So I'll check back in later when I do something like prune, or if you have any questions on your orchids on this post, what you could do is just kind of send me a picture of what you have and what your concerns are. Somebody had asked about trimming. And I have this group right here. Let's see. Trimming orchids. So when you have an old spike, like say this was an old spike. Actually, this is an old spike, but I didn't cut it, and you could see it made another spike off the old spike. I trimmed it here where it had died back. But if this died back and I wanted to trim it all the way, you see this last little node right here before the actual plant? That's where you would trim it. You would cut it back somewhere around there. Or if it stays green, you can leave it and see if it'll put you out another spike. And this one did, and it's absolutely one of my favorite. It's just gorgeous. You can see some of the blooms are getting old, which is absolutely normal. They'll get old and die off, and then the cycle starts all over again. One of the things Phalaenopsis needs to bloom is a drop in temperature, like 10 degrees for a couple of weeks, and then it'll put out some new blooms. So I hope y'all have a great day, and if you have any questions, hit me up.